Don't tell the shorts. The NIO numbers are looking pretty good. This is the insurance data for the week of February 26th through March 3rd, and NIO had 3,600 reported for these numbers. Now, this is a carryover. We've got some days in February that have already been reported by NIO as deliveries, but March, I think we're going to see this trend continue with the numbers increasing and improving because in March, NIO started delivering their 2024 models. Uh-oh. Don't tell the shorts. All right, but let's talk before I move on to the next tab that I've got lined up. This Li Auto I want to watch moving forward. They just started coming out with their first pure electric vehicle. Those started in March. So I'm curious what they will look like moving forward as well and how that will do. Previously, all they've been doing is the EREVs is what they're called, basically a hybrid. So that's something that I'll have in mind and kind of be watching for moving forward. Let's talk NIO numbers though. The chart over here on the left-hand side of the screen, but the right-hand side of that chart, you've got the 2024 numbers. Now, Chinese New Year fell in this time frame, but probably most notably, we've got this first week of the NIO sales, and it's just a couple of days. So we'll get a better picture and idea moving forward into the rest of this month. The nice thing is we're back above this 3,000 sort of baseline as I'd like to see it and have referenced it. If we go back to the end of 2023, NIO was delivering in the last 6 months on average about 17,500 vehicles. I think those were the numbers. So my thinking is this: NIO can be flirting with and close to profitability with those kinds of numbers, especially as the margins improve. We should see that throughout the course of the rest of this year. In 2024, also other revenues should increase. So I do think NIO is going to be flirting with that profitability, and that's without even knowing what kind of sales and revenue are going to be generated from the first sub-brand that NIO comes out with. So a lot of exciting things ahead. The breakdown on this right-hand side, you've got the ES6 continuing to be the best seller for the NIO lineup, and then the ET5 Touring making up about the same number as that ES6. The fourth best seller of that model, the EC6. This is pretty consistent. It's just nice to see the numbers coming back up and getting back above that 3,000 number. Let's see what happens the rest of March. I'll be back to cover it again, but I also wanted to mention this, something else I'm keeping an eye on. The premium EV side of the business is the slowest piece in China to really move over to the full with a pure battery electric vehicle side of the business. And that means these companies continue to dominate. And this is evidenced by these numbers. Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Audi in a single week, over 30,000 vehicles just for those three brands. But again, this is the slowest piece of the market to move over to pure battery electric vehicles. So how many of these sales in the future can NIO take? That's my thinking. And I think the build out of the power swap stations, the infrastructure, and NIO basically creating a part of the grid in China in the future is huge. I think it's not only huge from the standpoint of being an energy player that at this stage NIO is not being recognized for, but also I think there is such an advantage they have from sort of the unconventional marketing and advertising that they get from those power swap stations. So it's funny that the slowest piece of the market to move over, being the premium, might seem like it's a bad thing right now, but I think it actually gives NIO more time to take more of that market share. But let's see, it's still early, as I said. So this was kind of fun, and I wanted to highlight this and bring this up as well. This is for the beginning of the year in 2024, and what I think is fascinating is NIO, as one of the new car making brands, made number 5 on this list, and yet they only had a couple of days with their 2024 models being delivered. So I think this is going to increase, and NIO is going to move up these rankings. Also, a big unknown is Li Auto, of course, with their first pure EV. What are their sales going to do? Are they going to change? Or I don't know. I mean, it's something to watch and monitor. It's still very early, but I thought this was a positive to see NIO, especially, again, if we recognize the pure battery electric side of the business in the premium segment where NIO is positioned is the slowest to move over. So I'm happy to see them at that point on the list. I only got to catch a little of the earnings. I jumped onto Marcel's live stream for a little of it, but I didn't hear it all, and I haven't been able to review transcripts. I do need to come back with content on that, but I'm kind of curious, this insurance registration data coming out and being a positive for those paying attention, but also coming out on a day where the earnings came in, and there was even noise about that. The earnings were pretty good by NIO, and yet there was still a negative narrative associated with it and some maybe if you want to call them shorts, putting out a negative vibe and suggesting that NIO wasn't doing well. It's very interesting. It's a very fascinating point where we're at. But let me get this thing up and out so that I can then get back to work and try to catch up on some of the other things, including getting an earnings recap video up and out. So thanks. Have a great day. We'll see y'all again very soon.